After the characters are introduced, the story goes on. Since the war has begun, and our heroes find themselves in battle. And it's here where the book shines. It describes you so well what a mess the battlefield can truly be. The overall storyline is told in a perspective of all-knowing narrator, which one would think is a major handicap in realistic war novels, but it isn't. It has one bad thing. It makes it possible for a story to sidetrack. What do I mean by sidetracking? Well, there are people who are not soldiers. There are priests, medical personnel, and we get to know story from their perspective. It's not necessary. It doesn't expand the story anyway. It's just sidetracking. It's boring and it's just stupid. Stupid! All these characters are just brought up and then they're just forgotten. That's both sidetracking and using drive-by characters. Drive-by characters are those characters who are introduced moments before they die, which are quite few in this book, but still. I don't care if you want to show me what a mess the battlefield can truly be in the back of the front line. Just concentrate on telling what's going on in the front line. Cause last time I checked, that is where our main heroes happen to be. In the front line! You introduce the characters. We want to know how they survive. We want to know how they interact in the war. And their place in the war is in the front line. Concentrate in it, please! But there really isn't that many major battles that are described to the reader. Most of the time, it's told that whereas soldiers die, others came to take their places. Again, I am okay with this. And so the book goes on until we reach the climax of the book. But it really isn't the climax. Oh no, we have just been introduced to the greatest soldier to ever run in any front line. And that is Antero Rocca. And he also brings his pal Wolfspaw with him, but nobody really cares about him. Now you might be asking, so who is this Rocca? And I'm asking you back. You don't know who Rocca is? Everybody knows who Rocca is. If you don't know who Rocca is, I'm not here to explain it for you. So suck it. Yeah, that was too rude and politically incorrect, especially if you're not living in Finland, so I'm going to explain it to you. Rocca is Finnish Rambo and Warsons and Sun Tzu, all combined in one. The most awesomest fictional Finn to ever live on. So now that you know how awesome Rocca is, I'm going to ruin him for you. How? Because to me Rocca is sympathetic killing machine. So he also reminds me of another sympathetic killing machine I know. And what is that? Well, it's the Moogle from Final Fantasy VI. Yeah, think about it. Rocka and the Moogle are saved. Well, after Rocket the Moogle comes along, nothing really happens until they arrive in Petroskoi. And since they now are the conquering heroes, they have time to get to know the city better, get some souvenirs, and make Russian Orthodox Church life a living hell after 1991, when Rahikainen sells their holy icons to whoever is willing to buy them. And since we are in occupied town, there is also civilian women. Alone. So everyone is getting lucky. So it only makes sense when our three heroes, Vanhala, Hiatanen and Mogaimi Rokka, head on to get some nice Karelian woman. Oh yeah. But the guys were probably too slow since their women aren't giving them any. But they do dance! Yay! I mean, what? Seriously? They just dance? The guys in All Quiet in the Western Front had better luck than these guys. Granted, Palmer and Co were in France, and Valhalla and Kosko are older and they live in Karelia, and Palmer and Co did pay them more than Valhalla and Co, but still, Just dancing when you're making the guys from All Quiet in the Western Front look more manly than these guys, you have some serious problems. Again, one could argue that it is, but still, it still seems a little too out of place for me. They're conquering heroes, they are men. Only companion they have had for this entire time was their right hand. Or, if you're left handed, then the left hand. Or maybe some lonely women in the back lines, but still, doesn't add up to me. I mean, come on! Only Rocca has an excuse. He's married. But Vanhal and Hietanen, they have no excuse. Maybe they're just shy, but that's stupid! Stupid! Well, anyway, nothing important happens in Petroskoe either after Van Holland Code doesn't get any, but all the other guys are. I'm sorry, but to me there is just something wrong in here. Again, it is. But still, conquering heroes! They take care of children! Well, not in that sick way, just giving them food and cigarettes and, well, the food isn't really that good as cigarettes are just bad. Good lord. Maybe that is the reason. And then we jump right into that phase where things start to go wrong for Finns. One corporal decides that he is the Sun Tzu of his generation, and then the German front collapses. Yes, we were allied with the Cherries, just get over with it. Now will you? And Finns start to run away. And once again, nothing really happens. Soviets just are winning and kill more and more Finns. Both sides commit war crimes like Soviets, who unfairly bombard the convoy of ambulances and kill Hietala in the process, which is like bad, cause if you remember, Hietala was one of our main heroes. And also one Finnish officer executes a Finnish soldier, but we get over with that. But then happens the unthinkable. Rocca the Mughal is wounded! And so is his pal Wolfspaw, but who cares? So one would now think that the book is over now. No! We still have so many pages left. But Rocca the Mughal is wounded badly and is out of the story, so I'm going to wrap it up. Finns lose, Soviets win, and Finns are in the woods while sun is shining and Valhalla sums things up with wise words. Socialistic Soviet republics won, but on the good second came small and feisty Finland. Wise words indeed. And thus ends the novel with other words that will haunt you for the rest of your life. What a band of brothers. And thus ends the book Anti-War, making Finns more cynical and making this realistic vulnerable to Finland's Bible about the continuing war. By the way, it would be something to review the actual Bible now, wouldn't it? So that's The Unknown Soldier. How does the book stand up? As said, it's still pretty good. It has aged, but let's face it, everything has aged. But what I think is a real pity is that everyone has forgotten the actual moral of this book, which is that war is a horrid thing. And it also is the only moral on all of the modern war novels ever, but no one remembers that. Everybody only remembers that the true moral was that Finns did their best, but greater things failed the Great Finland Plan. But that's to be played in the 1954 movie by Edwin Light that everybody knows and loves. So I have already established that the main storyline is good, really good. So what's bad about this? The characters. The characters aren't that deep at all. They are basic archetypes of one of our soldiers, and I still have that not so good feeling in my Gollywoods that Vanhala was meant to be the main hero. Why? Because he's the only one who gets any character development. But and there still is just too many of those pointless side characters. But the main annoyance that I have to watch this book is that all the scenes seems to be so loose. But you know, this was still an experiment. It was only the third novel written by Vainolin. So, you know, he wanted to experiment things a little bit. The only bad thing that I have towards this experiment is that this is a war novel classic in Finland. Mad Scientist Experiment is a classic in Finland. But what about the war novel, the original manuscript? Well, what I read was here and there, but basically I couldn't get the reason why it wasn't published in the 1950s. I get it for some parts, but people, Alexis Kivi did that with Finnish peasants in the late 19th century. Move on with it! So, to be honest, the Unknown Soldier and the war novel are the seven brothers of Finnish war literature. And the explanation we get, it's bogus. I mean, the society hasn't changed that much in 46 years. Literature sure has with modern war novels, but that's it. If this would be published now, it wouldn't be anything special, and even for the time being, it was nothing special. There was all quiet in the Western Front, for God's sake, and in modern times, there was the Winter War. Read those books if you want to read a good realistic war novel. Not this! This is a mad scientist experiment! So, all in all, not the greatest war novel ever to be written, but the authors first. And even though I'm saying that you shouldn't read it, give it a try. And remember that there is no such thing as a bad book, cause then the publishers would lose all the respect they have. So that's my review about The Unknown Soldier. Remember to check out for more videos and especially my Independence Day special where I take the 1955 movie and bash it to the ground. So remember to check up in 6th of December 2011 for my review of Linus' masterpiece. So until then, live long and prosper, and let's all start counting how many death threats I get until 6th of December. All I have to say now is it sure is a good thing that I live in a bunker several meters below surface in another dimension with my dear Kalashnikova. Cause mark my words, people, those pesky trolls are in a fight of their life if they come and hunt me down. So that's all for now. Live long and prosper. Asamana is out.